All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all the praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rukat Kadash. I like to say double honors and respect to my apostles and elders, a great millstone, who rule well and taught us His truth. Much love, peace, and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect, and the 1/3. This is your brother Salah. All right, in today's video, we're gonna be discussing, the main topic, the hot topic, right? The M.O.T.B. And by the way, yeah, it's June, man. And but yeah, but anyways, brothers, have been reposting or been talking about this video, and by the looks of it, and brothers have mentioned this before. I believe it was how Shai Zion saying that this specific video, this Jake, or this guy who appears to be a Jake, who has taken the brain chip implant, Mark of the Beast, or M.O.T.B. They mentioned that this video looks kind of AI, and I'm just gonna mention, yeah, it does look AI, but that doesn't take away from the point, right? Right, that regardless whether it's AI or not, what are they doing? What are these wicked elites doing, man? What is Esau doing? They're advertising the M.O.T.B, the mark of the beast. They're trying to normalize it, right? Regardless of if the video is real or fake, man. It's the fact is the M.O.T.B is here, is on the table, man. And Esau's getting ready, you're getting ready for you, getting these people's minds ready, to accept the M.O.T.B once all hell, breaks loose, right? It intensifies and shit gets ugly, right? So we're gonna open up with the book of Second Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? And again, man, Esau, man, his AI, man, has gotten to the point where like certain videos, like we can't tell if it's real or not because they'll look realistic, but there are certain things that this guy, as he'll point out in the video, they'll point out differences, or signs that you could tell that this video is that videos like this is AI. But again, man, regardless of not whether or not it's AI, the point still stands. Esau, he's going with his agenda of implementing the M.O.T.B, right? Thus fulfilling the prophecy of Revelation 13, with verse 16 on down, right? And so before we play this video, we're gonna get the copyright disclaimer. Disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use, fair use, fair use. For purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So with that out of the way, we're going to play the video.
The guy who got a Neuralink implant and started winning at the casino is just making AI videos. Why is he like a robot? It's not because of Neuralink, it's because these are AI. He normally has no tattoos, a normal wrinkly face, and a higher pitched voice, but his AI self has a tattoo sleeve, a very smooth forehead, and a lower pitched voice. In his real videos, he tries to psychically predict lottery numbers, so his AI goes into a casino and wins a bunch, probably because he put all of his money down on 22, because that's on the wheel like 7 times. Then again, the number Z shows up twice, another great bet. That's not a Neuralink logo. Neuralink and Tesla are not the same company. That's an AI mistake. Behind them are chest x-rays. That doesn't make sense. And what is that text? Look at the background text. That's important. Don't pixel peep too hard at these, but the guy's badge is definitely big enough to tell that it's an AI mess. Neuralink does not make people psychic. It is for people with disabilities. He has other AI videos on his page, so we know it's a thing he does. And I almost avoid covering things like this because these paranormal videos are kind of out of control. But making undisclosed AI videos should backfire because it's obvious that you're lying to people once they start using their eyes. The guy who got a Neuralink.
All right, and again, man, regardless whether Esau or Jake, that's what that side with Esau, man. Man, is using is making AI videos or not. The point still stands. Revelation 13 verse 16 on down is here. Is at the door, man. Is at the table, right? And they're using people like this, especially Jake, to advertise it. Is to why, man, to condition people to deal to get used to the idea of taking the mark of the beast, right? Which the elect, Lord willing, be part of that number, which the Lord will guide us, man. man, or put us in a position, to not take, or give us the spirit, right, to not take this M.O.T.B, to not take this mark, and I would also like to add, right, it also goes to show how good that Esau has gotten with his deception, right, his enchantments, with AI and whatnot, right. All right, so the next video I'm gonna show you is and brothers have already covered this, but this is just the the point, the fact, right. To point out the fact that 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 Slakia, that the mark of the beast, right, the M.O.T.B again is getting advertised, right, and now they're saying that prisoners, right, can drastically reduce their sentence if they get this this brain chip implant. Again, copyright disclaimer, fair use, fair use, fair use.
So they coming up with a new prison that allows inmates to serve years of their sentence in just a matter of minutes. So the criminals is going to have a choice to spend tens of years behind bars, or they can make the choice to get the artificial memory implanted into their brain. So this process is called Cognify. And the intent of it is to treat the criminal like a patient. They're going to try to change the person's brain chemistry. After this process, when they re-enter society, they will be new and reformed, and they won't even be capable of committing any other crime. The chip can make the patient feel empathetic. Depending on the severity of the crime, the chip can also make you feel the emotional and physical pain of the victim and the family members. You can feel what they felt. So the process only takes about 7 minutes. But to the patient, it seemed like it had been years. Last year, the U.S. government spent $8.7 billion taxpayers' dollars on the prison. They say with this new prison, they can save money for health care, education. Also, they feel that it will be so many reformed people that doesn't commit crimes. Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all think about this. Do y'all think this is actually going to work? Or do y'all think that they're creating something that they don't even know that they're creating? Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all.
And they do know what they're creating. This is their new world order, right? This again. This is to get people to accept the M.O.T.B. Why? So they could try and mind control them, right? Right, but again, man, it's under the guise of, oh, it's gonna heal you, oh, it's gonna fix neurological issues, help you speak, help you walk, or whatever, which is those false miracles that that says in the book of Revelation, right? And since we're talking about this right now, we're gonna read this, right? Revelation 13, starting at verse 14, right? And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live, right? And again, man, these miracles, right? Who is Esau trying to imitate, man? He's trying to imitate the miracles of Yahweh Shai, right? Making the blind see, the lame walk, or whatever, and now there are talks of him, having Esau making like a special bed to revive people from the dead, which is which is madness, right? The Lord's never is never going to give them the means to do that, right? But now they're saying that with this new brain chip implant, right, and powered by AI, all right, now they have the ability to treat all these symptoms, or whatever, right? Right, but we all know this is this is a part of what Esau, right? Satan's wicked devices, to mind control you, and once you take that chip, right, you're basically marked for judgment, right? You're marked to get destroyed by them ICBM thermonuclear missiles, right, in the lake of fire, right? Right, which which is why, man, the hope, the hopeful elect, right? Again, hoping that that's us, the ones that are truly, sincerely seeking Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. We're gonna be privy to this, and the Lord's gonna guide us, to not take the mark. Yes, will we be tested? Most definitely, yes. The Lord, the Lord said, he's gonna try and plead with all with. He's going to try all flesh and plead with them, right? But the elect, they're the ones that's going to be saved from this destruction. While everyone else, man, they're going to fold and take the and take this mark of the beast, right? This RFID microchip and that Neuralink, right? And another thing I like to bring up, right, is again, this is small. It could be AI, Esau's deception, but regardless, we're gonna play this video. Basically, right? People have been spotting these unusual things in the sky, and what I mean by that is like small glowing things, right? Nanoparticles, or should I say nanobots? Again, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Those sightings have more people on watch across the U.S. But the real question is, where are we headed?
Something crazy is going on.
Can anyone tell me what this is? Look at it. What is that?
This is what is in the rain.
But then something very unexpected started happening.
Again, that could be AI.
I was leaving the pool with my kids, and we were in a parking lot. There were not a lot of cars left. As we were walking, I suddenly heard like a thud. So I stopped and I looked, and the vehicle that the sound came from was one of the only vehicles in the lot.
And what people feel is becoming much more widespread.
I can feel everything. It's weird outside. Grocery stores weird. People weird.
7:58. Okay. Why does this computer say 7:52? Oh wait, 7:52.
Unusual sightings outdoors and near homes are getting people's attention like never before. Look at this thing. It appears to be moving. The area seems to glow. The eyewitness says she came inside after being outdoors on a slightly windy day. And when she checked her skin, this strange object was there. I thought it might not be real at first, but when you look closer, the shadow seems consistent with the object's movement. I still don't know what this is, and this is very unusual. Then in another location, man noticed something looked very strange up close.
This is what is in the rain, and this is what we get. This is it. This is what you see now. Everything, the entire thing is lit up.
It's a different color internally. I don't know what this is. The question is, why now? And then another person in Nebraska noticed during the rain, something showed up. Notice the lights on top of the RV. They appear shortly after the lightning, then disappear. And according to the person recording, they did not show up again. The timing could be completely normal, maybe a reflection or something else, but it is pretty strange how that showed up on the roof. But then things get a little weirder because sightings started from the rain, but then it shifts to the ponds. But multiple white objects or lights appear to flash. Look closely and watch the movement. Not that this is connected, but notice what surfaced. And
let's go back to that. Previously unknown nanoparticles found in the stratosphere called a hidden organic particle in the high stratosphere. Maybe ozone chemistry, and again, man, this is this is another one of Satan's devices, right? And you best believe, right? These one of those those nanobots, those carbon nanotubes, those self-assembling carbon nano robots, that are placed inside people, right? And once that chip is implanted, these nanobots, are going to receive the radio frequencies, to command and control some of your cells, right? To do weird things to your body, right? It was also what was in that jab too, but now Esau's starting to spread that everywhere, right? This is why the scripture says, man. And let's get this right now. Yeah, right here in the book of Matthew, chapter 22, Matthew 24, verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, right? And yeah, man, Esau out here, putting all these nanobots, these chemicals, right? Which is what hurting up the earth, fuck up the air, food, water. This man's a goddamn devil, right? But we know that Yahweh Bashim Shai, task Esau, for this is so the Lord can bring that great day of judgment upon, and you best believe, right? Esau's not going to go unpunished for doing all these things, although he set him up to do it. He's going to punish Esau, for doing these things. Why? Because he went above and beyond what he's supposed to do. To the children of Israel. All right. So jumping back to Revelation, right? Right, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast shall both speak and cause that as many who would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And kill doesn't also just mean literally, but it can also figuratively mean cut off from society. For those that don't take the Neuralink or the RFID microchip, right? Right, and we're gonna read the rest. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, a charagma, that incision, that cutting in the flesh, in the right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, transaction, right, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for as the number of a man, his number is 636, chi psi stigma 666, 666, that 666, right? Right, which is tied to what that digital cryptocurrency. And the barcodes, right? So this is Esau's MO, right? Right. This is what's all coming down to, right? And right now, man, we hope and pray to Yahweh Bashim Shai that he keeps us stable during these times, because we are gonna need that that mental and spiritual stability. To endure what's about to come upon all of us, man. And again, there's gonna be some mass deception, but what is certain is you will be presented you will be presented the choice to either take the M.O.T.B or not take it, right? Right, because those that take the M.O.T.B, the mark of the beast, they're the ones set up for the destruction, and for the ones that don't take it, right? And I'm speaking, to the elect, right? That those are the ones that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to be deemed for salvation, right? The elect of Israel, Yashar Allah, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and you speckled bird Israelites. Right, and this last video, I'm going to show. Oh, again, fair use. This was I think this was like back in 2024, if I'm not mistaken. But we know Esau's Neuralink has now advanced past this. But again, I'm going to show this to prove a point.
Morbid Facts, Part 663. In January of 2024, 29-year-old Nolan Arbaugh became the first human to receive a Neuralink brain implant after being paralyzed in a diving accident. Though the surgery was celebrated as a milestone, things quickly unraveled. 85% of the device's threads retracted from his brain, crippling its function. Neuralink scrambled to deploy emergency software fixes just to keep it working, allowing Nolan to play chess and move a cursor with his thoughts. The surgery carried serious risks, including infection, brain damage, and long-term complications. Arbaugh's implant was never removed, and the company hasn't disclosed the full extent of its ongoing effects.
Yeah, that's right, man. So basically, right, Esau will say, "Oh, this can help you," or whatever when with your paralysis or whatever. But really, if you take that, there's a high possibility that it could fuck you up even more because you know damn well Esau's not gonna be checking to see if every brain chip implant is perfect. Heck, he might give you a purposely fucked up one just to leave you paralyzed, right? And then use just to track you and monitor you, man, because that's what this devil wants is control at the end of the day, right? All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 2. And the first went and poured his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark, the charagma of the beast, and upon them which worship the image, right? All right, so if you take this, man, who knows, man, you can get some sort of brain cancer. Pus might start, forming internally or outside your head, and that can slowly, kill you, man. Man, and that's also another one of those death by pain, right? Or the Lord could leave you suffering, long enough that you'll live to see to eat a fucking missile, man. And that's a very scary judgment. You take the Neuralink, you become paralyzed, but you're in pain, and then you live long enough to to eat an ICBM, thermonuclear missile. That's why, that's why it's important to fear the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. And all right, Isaiah chapter 47 verse 12. And this is speaking of Esau's deception, right? It's M.O.T.B, right? Right? Thinking that he can get that pseudo blessing. Isaiah 47 verse 12. Stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. And if so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail, right? And the Lord was facetious saying this because these people are not going to prevail. Once they get ready to implement the M.O.T.B, then that's pretty much it for them. Right, because in the book of Job, Job chapter 20, starting at verse 23. When he's about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast a fear of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he's eating, right? Esau's going to have a very short window to try to implement the M.O.T.B, and by then, and that's when World War III, the third world, is going to escalate, and them nukes are going to start flying, and Yahweh Shai is going to crack the skies and beam up his elect while simultaneously, destroying Babylon the Great, aka America, and cleansing the land, the Holy Land, right? And putting these damn devils and the rest of these heathens into subjection, while destroying all the 2/3 and the rest of the Jake rebels, right? Yeah, right. So the fear of the Lord, man, is very important. So I'm gonna end off with. Yeah, Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both body and soul in hell, man. So, if Esau, kills you or whatever, tortures you, but you didn't take the M.O.T.B, man, and that's good because if you take that M.O.T.B, man, you will. You will face the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, man, and that's only gonna be the elect, right? Right, and you know what? As bring out this next precept, chapter 20, Matthew 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, right? But the elect, they're not going to be deceived by Esau or these other false prophets, right? Right, that say, oh, the M.O.T.B is this, that, and the third, but they're not saying it's the mark of the beast, or they don't even talk about the M.O.T.B. Right, the elect, they're gonna have that in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, to know that they're about to implement this mark of the beast, right? That's when they're gonna call on the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. They're gonna use this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and that they've learned throughout the years, in whatever situation or whatever scenario they're in. The Lord, the Lord's gonna give them a way out, right? So with that, we're gonna end off the lesson right there. Hope this lesson's been edifying. To you, sincere Akim and Akwath. And with that, I like to say, Kal Halayim La Abanawa Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kakadash. Double honors and respect to my apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well and taught us his truth. Much love, peace, and salutations to the Lord's elect, the whole fledged and 1/3, Ishmael the Salah. And with that, I like to say, Shalom.